20 craziest conspiracy theories about the royal family. From John F. Kennedy being murdered by the US government to Buzz Aldrin staging a fake moon landing, some of the most influential historical figures have found themselves subject to conspiracy theories. The obsession with the British royal family is intoxicating and ever-present. Rumors run rampant. We live in an absurdist generation. Photos circulate within seconds, and suddenly we've descended an internet rabbit hole in which Meghan Markle is a robot and Queen Elizabeth II is a cannibal. Although the theories essentially have no objective evidence to back them up, they're compelling enough to capture the minds of people worldwide. Watch on for 20 of the most fascinating conspiracy theories about kings, queens, and princes. Number 1. The Queen is a shape-shifting alien reptile. They are among us, blood-drinking, flesh-eating, shape-shifting, extraterrestrial, reptilian humanoids with only one objective in their cold-blooded little heads: to enslave the human race. They are our leaders, corporate executives, beloved Oscar-winning actors, and Grammy-winning singers. They're responsible for the Holocaust, the Oklahoma City bombings, and the 9/11 attacks, at least according to former BBC sports reporter David Locke, who became the poster human for the theory in 1998 after publishing his first book, The Biggest Secret, which contained interviews with 2 Brits who claimed members of the royal family are nothing more than reptiles with crowns. The conspiracy theorist and New Age philosopher who wore only turquoise for a time and insisted on being called Son of Godhead says the Anunnaki, the reptiles, have controlled humankind since ancient times. They count among their number Queen Elizabeth. 2. Queen Elizabeth I was a man. Known to have defeated the Spanish Armada during her reign, Queen Elizabeth I was one of the longest reigning monarchs in British history after the current Queen Elizabeth II. Although not entirely a conspiracy theory, the idea of the Queen being a male imposter has been much debated throughout the centuries. This theory was first introduced in a book called Famous Impostors by Bram Stoker, author of the book Dracula. According to him, the real Queen Elizabeth had died at an early age due to a plague. However, to avoid the wrath of King Henry VIII, Elizabeth's caretaker decided to replace her with a similarly aged boy. Many misogynists and conspiracy theorists have argued that Elizabeth must have been a man due to her extraordinary leadership qualities, noted academic brilliance, and financial acumen. An overwhelming amount of evidence declares this notion of being false and discriminatory. It's just the product of haters insecure with the idea of a woman ruler. 3. Princess Margaret had a secret love child. Fans of The Crown will know that Princess Margaret was romantically involved with divorcee Peter Townsend before she married Anthony Armstrong. Their relationship started in 1947 during the royal tour of South Africa, when King George VI and the Queen Mother spent 3 months visiting along with then Princess Elizabeth and Princess Margaret. During this period, Townsend became comptroller of the household for the Queen Mother. A man named Robert Brown claimed to be the love child of Margaret and Townsend. Born in Kenya in 1955, Brown said that he had long sought a response to his questions and was forced to appeal to the High Court to have his case investigated. According to the Daily Mail in 2014, Brown won a High Court victory in his battle to see Princess Margaret's will, which he believed would name him. The publication reported that Brown alleges the princess secretly gave birth to him in January 1955. 4. Princess Diana and Prince Charles had a secret daughter. The Globe ran a story in 2014 suggesting that Princess Diana and Prince Charles had a secret daughter, conceived via IVF, who was born before Prince William. According to the strange theory, when Princess Diana had to visit a gynecologist before marrying Prince Charles to confirm that she was fertile, the doctor took some of her eggs. The doctor allegedly fertilized the eggs with Prince Charles' sperm and then had his wife carry the baby, whom they called Sarah. Women's Day reported in 2018 that Sarah was allegedly exiled to stop the scandalous truth from hitting the headlines. The publication also featured a supposed photo of Sarah, who looks a lot like Diana, with a heavy dose of Photoshop. 5. Prince Charles is a vampire. Some genealogy records state that Prince Charles is a descendant of 15th century Romanian prince Vlad the Impaler, the man who inspired Bram Stoker's 1897 novel Dracula, that would also make Princess Charlotte a vampire. This, which we cannot handle at least. On a visit to Romania in 2011, Prince Charles called Transylvania a national treasure because of its unspoiled landscape and centuries-old rural farming traditions. The prince tried to connect with the area, stating that genealogy shows that he is related to Vlad. Without discussing vampires, New Idea reported that Prince Charles is distantly related to Vlad the Impaler, the Romanian prince who inspired Bram Stoker's Dracula. Since he is related to him, he must be a vampire. The publication cited the disease porphyria is present amongst the royals. Porphyria is an iron deficiency disease that makes skin sensitive to sunlight. 6. Kate Middleton used a surrogate. The crazy rumors circulated after Catherine, Duchess of Cambridge, gave birth to Princess Charlotte, suggesting the Duchess was never pregnant, wore a fake bump, and used a surrogate, all because she looked great in the hours after giving birth. Some people just can't handle people being gorgeous. People also claim that the baby did not look like a newborn. 7. Meghan Markle used a surrogate. That's right, the people who believe that Kate used a surrogate during one of her pregnancies were also convinced that Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, was never really pregnant. Theorists purported that Meghan hired a surrogate, either Talia Brown Thal, Meghan's erstwhile stylist, or a woman who was spotted leaning against a wall outside Westminster Abbey in March. The mind boggles. 8. The Queen is a Satanist cannibal. This strange theory about the Queen and Prince Philip stems from the fact that children appear to go missing whenever they're near. Case in point, when scores of Canadian children went missing, this coincided with Her Majesty and the Duke of Edinburgh making a trip to Canada. Of course, when it comes to the proof, there is none. 9. Queen Elizabeth I was the real William Shakespeare. Many theories abound about the authorship of Shakespeare's works, but one of the strangest is that Queen Elizabeth I was the real playwright. Ranker wrote, Elizabeth was known to write poetry and was considered to be an incredibly well-educated, witty person, contrasting to Shakespeare, who did not have the necessary knowledge to write about life at court. Shakespeare himself came from a rustic community and has not been connected in his personal life to the experiences of the characters he wrote. Many of Shakespeare's plays serve as propaganda to promote the Tudor dynasty, which is believed to support the theory that the real author was Elizabeth herself. 10. Prince Harry isn't Prince Charles's son. Rumors have long circulated that Prince Harry isn't Charles's son. Many claims that Harry's father is James Hewitt, with whom Princess Diana had an affair, despite having an affair with Diana while she was married to Charles. Hewitt revealed in a TV interview in 2017 that he wasn't Harry's dad, saying, "No, I'm not. It's worse for him, probably. Poor chap." 11. Queen Victoria's grandson was Jack the Ripper. Multiple rumors suggested that Queen Victoria's grandson, Prince Albert Victor, or Prince Eddie, as often known, was considered the infamous serial killer Jack the Ripper. The Ripper, who murdered at least 5 prostitutes in London's sleazy East End in 1888, never was captured. 4 of his victims were murdered, and this emboweled to one of the most gruesome and bizarre serial crimes in British history. However, the New York Times reported that an expert on the murders, who died in 1970, had previously claimed to have known the identity of Jack the Ripper, but in a letter published the day after his death, denied any connection between the killer and the royal family. 12. Queen Victoria had a love child. Few servants in history have been the focus of more biographies than Victoria's insufferable gilly John Brown. A stable boy of 15 on the Balmoral estate in Deeside in 1842, before Victoria and Albert acquired it, he was first mentioned in the Queen's Journal in 1849. In 1858, he became Albert's Scottish servant, and remained in attendance after the prince's death in 1861. Since Victoria's physicians wanted to get her riding again to extricate her from her self-imposed purdah, Brown was sent south in 1864 to be her groom. Until his death at Windsor Castle in 1883, he would be her closest and most influential attendant, accumulating power and perquisites despite egregious personal flaws she would have tolerated in no one else. He drank heavily and smoked a foul pipe. He used crudities in her presence and even to her. He was arrogant and indiscreet and insubordinate to her highest courtiers, and even to her royal children, especially the Prince of Wales, the future Edward VII. A woman named Jean Brown claimed to be Queen Victoria's child. She approached Queen Victoria's great-grandson, Prince Harry of Hesse, in a New York gallery and suggested that her father was John Brown. 13. Diana was pregnant with her third child. More than 20 years later, many conspiracy theories still surround Princess Diana's death. One persistent theory is that the late princess was pregnant with her then-boyfriend Dodi Fayed's baby. Conspiracy theorists have fixated on the idea of her pregnancy partially because of the ambiguous comment she gave to newspapers a few weeks before her death about a big surprise. After the infamous car crash in Paris that killed both Princess Diana and Fayed in 1997, the Egyptian millionaire's father, Mohammed Al Fayed, fueled the pregnancy idea, adding that the couple was about to get engaged soon as well. Part of his theory was that the royal family and British secret services were plotting against the marriage because they disapproved of the match, since Al Fayed was a Muslim and Diana was planning on marrying him, to which there is no proof. But forensic scientist Professor Angela Gallup put the pregnancy rumors to rest, with her investigation documented in her book. Princess Diana's blood samples from the car tested negative for the pregnancy hormone HCG. Still, some people don't believe the blood test results, pointing to the fact that Princess Diana was embalmed quickly, which would have made a urine pregnancy test out of the question. 14. Prince Charles and Prince Philip are part of the Bilderberg Group. There is a strange theory involving Prince Philip, Prince Charles, and the Bilderberg Group. The Bilderberg Group meets every year in a secret conference to allegedly discuss essential world affairs. However, the exact details of what's discussed at the meetings are top secret, as is the complete list of attendees. Conspiracy theorists believe that the Bilderberg Group has immense power and has even plotted to have people murdered. According to conspiracy theorists, past attendees to the top-secret Bilderberg meetings have been Bill Gates, former President Bill Clinton, and former Secretary of State to President Nixon, Henry Kissinger. Many other high-profile politicians and heads of state have allegedly also attended, hence why conspiracy theorists believe that the members of the British royal family are involved. 15. The Duke of Kent was murdered in a plane crash. Prince George, Duke of Kent and brother of King George VI and Edward VIII, died in 1942. He was equally stylish and wilder than his more celebrated older brother, Edward VIII. He'd been serving in the World War II when his plane went down. Conspiracy theorists believe that the prince was murdered, especially as he caused so much controversy throughout his lifetime. It is claimed the Duke was known for his cocaine habit, myriad affairs with men and women, and support of Hitler. The theory gained traction after the sole survivor of the plane crash signed an official secret act, forbidding him from revealing any details about what occurred during the accident. 16. The Virgin Queen wasn't a virgin. Queen Elizabeth I lived her life wedded to her country and has long been known as the Virgin Queen. During a speech to the Parliament in 1559, the Queen declared that this shall be for me sufficient, that a marble stone shall declare that a queen, having reigned such a time, lived and died a virgin. It was an incredibly bold statement to make, considering queens and kings were expected to marry and produce an heir. Not to mention, Elizabeth was only 26 at the time of her speech, having begun her reign a year earlier. But when you take a look at the chaos Elizabeth had been exposed to, it's easy to see why marriage was an institution she was desperate to avoid. And who can blame her? She may have been known as the Virgin Queen, but some conspiracies allege that she took lovers. It's believed Elizabeth's first taste of romance came after her father's death, when Catherine's new husband, Thomas Seymour, began flirting with her. But what began with flirting turned into downright harassment. Thomas would walk into Elizabeth's bedroom when dressing, slap her bottom when she was lying in bed, and do other inappropriate behavior. In 1548, when Catherine was pregnant, she sent the princess away so that Thomas's infatuation couldn't escalate. Elizabeth was only 15. But that same year, Catherine died due to complications following childbirth, meaning Thomas was free to pursue Elizabeth. It's unclear how Elizabeth felt about Thomas, but a factual romance was never on the cards. And it's just as well because he was eventually executed for treason. Elizabeth had several chances to marry during her lifetime, and most historians agree that if she had, it would have been to one man, Robert Dudley. He was widely known to have been the Queen's one true love. During her reign, rumors spread of Elizabeth's relationship with Robert Dudley, her sweet Robin, whom she had known since childhood. Within days of accession, Elizabeth had appointed Dudley as Master of the Horse, a position that guaranteed almost daily contact. Was Elizabeth's love life steamier than she let on? 17. Wallis Simpson had an affair with a Nazi. Biographer Andrew Morton, in his book 17 Carnations, suggested that Edward and Wallis were involved with the Nazis, even during World War II. Wallis allegedly had an affair with Hitler's foreign minister, who sent her 17 carnations to symbolize the number of nights they'd spent together. While Edward's association with the Nazis is well documented, whether or not Wallis had an affair is one for the conspiracy theorists. 18. Meghan Markle is a robot. A popular theory emerged that Meghan had been replaced with a robot when she seemed to appear in the audience of Britain's Got Talent. However, the robot was a wax figure from a new exhibition at Madame Tussauds in London, not the real Duchess of Sussex. Still, that didn't stop conspiracy theorists from suggesting that the former actress had been replicated. 19. The royals lied about Archie's birth date. Some royal fans were seriously suspicious of the way that Archie's birth was announced and believed that the baby had been born in secret 2 weeks prior. This was due to the muddled way in which the palace announced that Meghan had gone into labor. While media outlets were told Meghan was in labor around lunchtime on May 6, it was later revealed that Archie was born hours earlier at 5:26 a.m. The misinformation was likely just a misunderstanding, but some fans are still convinced that Archie was born way before the public found out. 20. Harry and Meghan's wedding is part of a plot by Britain to gain control over America. One conspiracy theory suggested that Prince Harry married Meghan Markle so that Britain could regain power in America. Twitchy editor Greg Polowitz started the tongue-in-cheek rumor with this tweet on November 27, 2017, the day Harry and Meghan announced their engagement. Prince Harry's kids will be Americans. What if one grows up to be the president and simultaneously in line for the throne? The Brits are playing a long ball here, but it's a smart move. They want America back, and this is how they'll do it. Know even more bizarre conspiracy theories? Let us know in the comment section. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button if you enjoyed it. Until next time.